where do you stand on Minnesotans' right to protect themselves and their families via the Castle Doctrine?
This is one of the things that I guess I opposed some of the leaders of my party on, and I did support the Castle Doctrine, and I think that it actually makes sense. The Castle Doctrine is about people breaking into your house if you have the right to use force when somebody is broken into your house, and I do support that. I think that that is the right thing to do. I think that, and like I said, there were a lot of my party leaders that didn't like that, but I did what I thought was right on that, and I supported that. I worked with the author of the bill on that to try to get hearings for that, and was unsuccessful while I was there, but I did work with the Republicans authoring that bill to try to do that. And so it's something that I would continue to support if I'm re-elected or elected again. And so I think that it's a reasonable bill, and I do support it.
Thank you. Ben, where do you stand on Minnesotans' right to protect themselves and their families via the Castle Doctrine?
I support the Castle Doctrine 100%. You know, your home is your castle. You should not have to retreat from a threat and try to run away when you have your family and your home to protect. And you should be allowed to meet any threat with reasonable force. You know, a home break-in or other such things can be a very scary event, and people should not be afraid to defend themselves, afraid of legal action or afraid of other action. They should be able to defend themselves without fear of prosecution. Thank you.
Tony, where do you stand on Minnesotans' right to protect themselves and their families via the Castle Doctrine?
Well, I agree with much of what Tim and Ben just said. Unfortunately, that's not what the Castle Doctrine says. I mean, the fact of the matter is, people in their homes today have every right to defend themselves. There is not one single court case in the history of Minnesota where somebody has been prosecuted for defending themselves in their homes. This takes that set of tools and ability to defend yourself way away from homes. It takes it into your boat. You know, if somebody's on the lake and you're a little bit scared of them, you can shoot them without fear of repercussions. If you're on your four-wheeler and you feel threatened, you can take that lethal, deadly force. We saw this happen, you know, a little bit after the vote came up in the Minnesota legislature in Florida, when that young man, Trevon, was hunted down and shot and killed. And Florida had the Castle Doctrine in place, and they couldn't bring charges against the individual responsible for this. He felt threatened, but he was absolutely wrong. And so I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I am a lifelong gun owner, lifelong hunter, and understand that that is part of our heritage and part of who I am. I live that, I breathe it. I got my first gun the day I turned 12. Browning lever action 22, I still have it. I gave both of my boys Browning lever action 22s engraved when they turned 12. I mean, I really am a strong supporter of gun rights. But when it comes to the ability to use that gun with deadly force, there comes a point when, you know, the judicial system is going to have to call you in and ask you a few questions about the circumstances under which you used it. And the Castle Doctrine goes, as it was presented to the Minnesota legislature in this past session, went way too far. It came way out of the home. This is not about protecting your home. There is no case of people protecting their homes being prosecuted in Minnesota. The courts aren't full of those cases. The jails aren't full of those cases. People who protect themselves, Minnesota's current laws have their backs in their homes.
Thank you. Lastly to you, Bill, where do you stand on Minnesotans' right to protect themselves and their families via the Castle Doctrine?
Well, first of all, I have to give Tony a little bit of credit, because when he makes his mind up, he sticks with it. And one of his high school classmates told him, you got to support the Castle Doctrine, and you didn't. And so you stood by your ground. It wrecked the relationship with a friend up in Asco. Well, I have my sign up in front of his business in Asco now because of it, so.
He still likes me though.
Well, what it comes down, many of us in here have permits to carry. And if you look at, when this all started coming down a few years ago, when they said when people started getting permits to carry in Minnesota, there'd be people getting shot, there'd be all this mass mayhem, and none of that has happened. A lot of crime has reduced in many areas because people are starting to realize that you have permits to carry. Now, if people know that you can exercise that right when you're out in your boat, out in your four-wheeler or something, when you go through the training, you learn what rights you do have. It's really, I think everybody should go, even if you don't want to get a permit to carry, you should go and take the training course because you get to learn a lot of safety features, you get to learn what to watch out for, what to expect from other people, and what situations you can do something about it. There are some situations you can't, but there's a lot of situations that you can. And I know Tony brings up the fact that he's an avid hunter and has the guns and stuff, but a couple of years ago he did a photo op with his two boys, and you were carrying the gun incorrectly. You have both your hands on the forearm of the gun, and I did print it out, but it doesn't come out very clearly. And as you can see, he's carrying the gun incorrectly, and he's evidently trying to shoot some critters that are out in a timothy grass field that has no open season at that time. And you're supposed to wear orange if you're upland bird hunting. So if you're going to do a photo next time, doing like that, you get, you show you shot something, you got the correct orange on, and you're being safe about it.
I guess that's the end of that question.
I thought